The Ol Kalou parliamentary by-election has now moved beyond a contest for votes. It has become another test of whether strong words from the state can be matched by equally strong action. After NTV's investigation exposed alleged voter bribery, political violence, and identified individuals captured in the scenes, the expectation was simple, that the authorities would move with speed. After all, the warnings have been many. The promises have been repeated that political Gunism would be crushed, that criminal elements would be dealt with, and security agencies would do their job. But with no publicly announced arrests and no disclosed summons of those identified, the question is now whether the tough talk is finally about to meet real action, or whether Kenyans have heard this script before. Here's NTV's Julius Juma with that report.
The have been strong, the warnings have been repeated, and the promises have been made time and again that political goons will be dealt with, criminal networks dismantled, and that security agencies would act. But as Kenya moves from one incident to another, the question remains whether the declarations are becoming a familiar political soundtrack, one that plays loudly after every crisis before fading away when the attention moves elsewhere.
Our security agencies must do their job. Within the law, they must do their job and they must stop criminality.
The message has been delivered before in public rallies, in official statements, and after moments when questions were raised over the country's security situation. The promise has remained the same. Action will be taken. But for many Kenyans, the expectation is no longer another declaration. It is the result.
They have departments and a chief officer in charge of goods. Yeah? And they are the ones who will now, before the governor goes to the rallies, is the one who mobilizes people, including those governors who pride themselves in public as human rights defenders. We know them.
The assurances have continued. The question is whether the consequences have followed. It is against that backdrop that the Ol Kalou parliamentary by-election now presents the latest taste. An NTV investigation into the events surrounding the contest exposed allegations of voter bribery, intimidation, and organized violence. The findings placed several individuals under scrutiny: a former county assembly speaker, a serving police officer, a board chair of a state agency, and elected members of parliament. After the revelations, the public expectation was clear that the agencies responsible for enforcement will move swiftly. But so far, there have been no publicly announced arrests linked to the allegations. There has been no confirmation that those identified have been summoned for questioning, and neither the National Police Service nor the Directorate of Criminal Investigations has provided a detailed public account of the progress of the investigations. This has raised difficult questions. Is this simply the confidentiality required in ongoing investigations, or is the continued silence beginning to create the perception of a conspiracy of silence within the institutions tasked with enforcing the law? Interior CS Kipchumba Murkomen has said investigations into the Ol Kalou incidents have commenced, but investigations have become the first chapter in many such cases. The public is now waiting for the chapters that follow. Who has been questioned? What evidence has been reviewed? Will files reach prosecutors? And will anyone face consequences if any wrongdoing is established? Because Kenya's problem has never been a shortage of warnings. Warnings have come in plenty. People have talked tough before. The promises have been made. The declarations have been repeated. The test has always been what follows. The Ol Kalou investigation now sits at the center of that test.
Draw a line between politics, violence, and criminal activity. Hatuwezi ati kujisingizia siasa. Tuwe na nchi ambaye tunachoma mali ambayo imetafutwa na wananchi na jasho yao.
The country has heard the warnings. It heard them after previous episodes of political violence. It had them after promises of a crackdown on goons and criminal networks, and now it hears them again after Ol Kalou. But warnings without consequences risk becoming just another announcement after another crisis. In this case, the public saw the footage, the investigation followed the trail, and names emerged. However, the silence by the agencies mandated to act is just too loud. Or could we be forcing perpetrators to investigate themselves? I know the government has a new spokesperson itching to hit the ground running, but please, can we move beyond empty talk? Because Kenyans have had enough tough talk, or maybe empty talk. The demand now is simple: action. Action should be taken. Julius Juma, NTV.